We've all been on a team before, right? But what does it take to build a team that's, well, truly exceptional? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the secrets behind turning a group of talented people into a focused, basically unstoppable force.
So, this is the big question every leader wrestles with. What really separates a good team from a great one? It's not just about hiring smart people. There's this collective energy, this clarity that great teams have. So let's really unpack what that means.
To even begin building a great team, you've got to understand what the foundation looks like. So let's start there. What are the absolute core components that make a team not just get the job done, but truly effective and focused?
It really boils down to these three pillars. First, you've got clarity of purpose. Does every single person on the team know why their work actually matters? Second, alignment on goals. Is everyone pulling the rope in the same direction? And third, cohesion and trust. Do people have each other's backs? These aren't just corporate buzzwords, they are the bedrock of any high-performing team.
And this isn't just some feel-good theory. The data backs it up. Check this out. Harvard Business Review found that teams with clear, well-defined objectives are a staggering 31% more productive. 31%. That clarity translates directly into real, tangible results.
Just look at Amazon for a second. Their incredible success is famously built on one single guiding principle: customer obsession. It's their true north. That clear purpose acts like a compass for every single team in that massive company, making sure every project, every decision is laser-focused on the customer.
This is one of my favorite examples of the power of focus. When Steve Jobs came back to Apple in '97, the company was an absolute mess. They were literally drowning in products. He came in and slashed 70% of the product line to focus the entire company on just 4 things. That radical clarity didn't just save Apple, it set it on the path to becoming, well, you know the rest of the story.
So knowing the foundation is one thing, but how do you, as a leader, actually build it? Okay, let's get practical. Here's the playbook. 3 powerful strategies you can use to build that collective success. All right, strategy number 1 is, I would argue, the most important of all: cultivating psychological safety. What does that mean? It's about creating an environment where every single person feels safe enough to speak up, to share a half-baked idea, or even to admit they made a mistake without fear of being shamed or punished. It's the key that unlocks real collaboration.
And, don't just take my word for it. Google spent years and millions of dollars on a massive internal study called Project Aristotle. Their number one finding? Psychological safety is the single greatest predictor of a team's success. More than talent, more than anything else. It's not a nice to have, it's the whole game.
If you want to see this in action, look at Pixar. Their creative magic is fueled by a meeting they call the Brain Trust. It's a non-hierarchical group where they give brutally honest feedback on movies when they're still in the early stages. That culture of safety allows them to find and fix problems early, turning good ideas into the blockbusters we all know and love.
Okay, moving on to strategy number 2. Leverage diversity of thought. And I want to be clear, this goes way beyond just demographics. It's about intentionally bringing together people with different skills, different backgrounds, different ways of seeing the world, because they will solve problems in ways a group of like-minded people never could.
A perfect case study is the Swiffer. That thing completely changed how we clean. Procter & Gamble created it by putting together a cross-functional team. Engineers, marketers, designers, all in the same room. That mix of perspectives led to a breakthrough product that made over $500 million in its first year alone. Insane.
In our third strategy is about fostering resilience. Because, let's be honest, every single team will hit a wall. They'll face setbacks. The difference is that resilient teams don't just bounce back. They actually use challenges and even failures as fuel to learn, adapt, and get stronger. Think about Ford during the 2008 financial crisis. They were the only big American automaker to avoid a government bailout. How on earth did they do that? They built a culture of radical transparency and collaboration that allowed them to innovate like crazy, even under all that pressure. That, right there, is resilience in action.
Okay, so we've got our principles, we've got our strategies, but how do we make this stuff real? How do we turn these ideas into daily practice? Let's dive into some practical tools that help leaders bring all this to life.
First up, the Rossi Matrix. Now this sounds a little corporate-y, but it is a wonderfully simple tool for getting rid of confusion. For any task, you just define who is responsible for doing it, who is accountable for making sure it gets done right, who needs to be consulted, and who just needs to be kept informed.
So here's a quick little example for a product launch. You can see right away, for right press release, the copywriter is responsible. They're doing the typing, but the marketing lead is accountable for the final outcome. See how clear that is? This simple grid makes sure nothing falls through the cracks.
And you might be wondering, does this really work? Oh yeah. By putting a racy matrix in place, HubSpot's marketing team was able to cut their product time to market by a full 20%. That is a huge competitive advantage, all from just adding a bit of clarity.
Now, beyond just clarifying roles, you need tools to create momentum. And that's where agile methodologies are fantastic. You've got frameworks like Scrum, which breaks these huge projects down into focused little sprints, and that builds a real rhythm of progress. Then there's Kanban, which helps everyone see the workflow visually, so you can spot bottlenecks in a heartbeat. Both are designed to keep teams focused and moving, especially when things are changing fast.
Now, to really appreciate why all of this matters so much, I think it's incredibly valuable to look at what happens when team focus just completely breaks down. Let's look at a powerful and pretty painful lesson from a very high-stakes failure.
This story is just a heartbreaker. In 1999, NASA lost its $125 million Mars climate orbiter. And the cause? It wasn't some catastrophic explosion. It was a simple conversion error. One engineering team used metric units, while another one used imperial units. That tiny misalignment in communication destroyed the entire mission. It is such a stark reminder of how critical team alignment really is.
And this all leads to a really critical warning for any leader. When you prioritize individual rock stars over the success of the team as a whole, you are setting yourself up for failure. It creates silos, it kills collaboration, and it introduces exactly the kind of risks that doomed that Mars orbiter. The team always has to come first.
So at the end of the day, building a great, focus-driven team isn't something you do once and then check off a list. It's a continuous, dynamic process. It takes intentional effort, it takes real empathy, and it takes the ability to adapt as you go. Because great teams are absolutely built, not born. So, with all that, I'll just leave you with this one final question to think about. Based on everything we've just talked about, what is the one single thing you can do, starting tomorrow, to improve your team's focus? Thanks for joining this explainer.